You know what's sad? I'm trying to do an opening joke involving the actress Gugu Mbathu Raw. I can always get that name correct, but I kept getting every other word in the sentence wrong. I was trying to say, between this and that last Cloverfield film, the moral of this story is Gugu Mbathu Raw needs to stay out of movies dealing with space. There we go. Got that out. Hey everyone, it's me, Aaron.
And I'm Michelle.
And this is our post-Geekout reaction for Wrinkle in Time. Now, for anybody who's not seen a post-Geekout reaction, it's not really a review, although it's basically a review, but it's also a bit of a spoiler talk all mixed together in there. So if you haven't seen the film, you might want to tune out now. But, you know, it's not really anything in here that you're going to be shocked at. I can tell you the entire plot
especially if you
of
have
this.
read the book already that was based off of.
Especially also if you've seen stories before. Yeah, there's nothing really surprising.
It's the story is very basic. It's basically like, you know, it's aimed at children, so it's not really anything like deep.
Did you ever read the book?
I tried to for a summer reading project.
Okay, I never read the book. And I knew it was like an all ages book, but there have been a lot of all ages book, like, you know, Harry Potter is technically all ages, and that's still a good read. Lion, Witch, and the Wardrobe, you were comparing this movie to that.
Yeah, I was like saying this was like the sci-fi version of that. It's like like I said before, it's like I tried reading this over for like the summer break because, you know, teachers always assign books over the summer break. And I thought this might be interesting, but it didn't really catch my interest.
Yeah, and
I'm sorry to all the fans out there of the book who love it, but it just wasn't my thing.
That's the thing. I had never read the book, but I was like, okay, all ages book. I turned to the movie. Well, you know what? Lots of really good all ages books exist now that are good for all ages, literally. And I was watching this and like, no, this is made for little kids.
Yeah, it's like, I read it for like elementary, going into middle school kind of thing.
I didn't know it was that old. Okay.
Yeah, it's like, I think it was published in like the 70s or something.
It seems, wow, that explains a lot. Especially how all the misses dress in this.
By the way, amazing wardrobes. Like,
that's a word for it, sure.
Very interesting wardrobes.
You know what, if you want to know what this movie is, look at their wardrobes in here. That's the movie. Because it's like, wow, a lot of splash and no subtlety at all. Everybody in this movie is exactly what they are. It's like, the little kid is the brainy, gifted little kid. That is going to be the brainy, gifted little kid. Every word out of his mouth is going to remind you, I'm the brainy, gifted little kid. The hunky next door neighbor kid who she forms a relationship with. I'm the hunky next door neighbor kid who she forms a relationship with. Every word out of my mouth is going to remind you that is my role in this film.
The bully, like, snotty, popular girl. Like,
don't get me wrong, kids can be really cruel.
Yeah.
Kids can be total assholes.
Yeah.
But on like the 4-year anniversary of our protagonist's dad going missing, she walks into school and there is a note from the popular kids that just says, I wish you disappeared too. I was like, wow, even the bullies I went to school with would be like, yeah, come on, man, the dad went missing. Let's all just, like, take a second here on this one. Yeah, man, they are such D-bags in this. But even, like...
But at the same time, like, they're very realistic. Like, I felt like the bullies in It were a bit exaggerated, like cutting up kids with knives and shit.
See, I must have... Man, maybe this is like a male bully thing, female bully.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Because I'm looking at this like, man, even they wouldn't do that. But I went to schools where I constantly hear... There are these critics that I love, the double toasty guys, and anytime that they see bullies in films beating up the kids, it's like, where are the parents? This is so unrealistic. I was like, what fucking magical school did you go to? Because where I went to, we would walk out of school every day with bloody noses and bloody faces, just getting the crap kicked out of us.
Yeah, it's like, that's the thing, is like, from personal experiences, like, boys are more physically bullied, like, whereas girls, they're like more manipulative.
Fair enough. But yeah, it's one of those things where everybody in this film who is a thing is 100% that thing.
So of course Oprah Winfrey is like the goddess.
Oprah Winfrey is Oprah.
Yeah, she's like this giant like deity that like watches over everybody.
When she comes down the first time, When she comes down the first time, they're called Misses, right?
Yeah, like they're basically like guardians of like not Guardians of the Galaxy, but guardians of like space and time.
And like concepts, I guess.
Like there's three Misses. There's
Mrs. What's-Its,
Mrs.
Who, and Which.
Yeah.
And Oprah is Mrs. Which.
I think it's not W-H-I-C-H, not W-I-T-C-H.
I can look that up right now, actually.
Because it's like who, which, and what's it. So like those are not like actual like nouns per se, so more like...
David Oyelowo was the villain. I did not know that. Okay. No, it's W-H-I-C-H. Of course, maybe in the book it was different. But yeah, yeah, and every single one of them had their own thing. Like, Reese Witherspoon is Mrs. What's-Its, and she is like the most fluffy, like, oh yes, everything's magical. Oh, what's this thing over here? Oh, well, I don't understand people and how to talk to them, so I'm going to talk like every thought that's just coming out of my head is just instantly going through my mouth.
No filter.
No filter, that's the word. And then Mrs. Who is tired of saying her own words, so she only speaks in quotes from other people and then immediately says who that quote is coming from. And then Oprah is like, I mean, when she comes down the first time, she comes down and she's a giant. And they look at her and go, you're the wrong size. And she goes, what is the wrong? There's no such thing as the wrong size. I was like, all right, I get the positive message of that, but it's like, God, like, yeah, first words out of her mouth is a positive message. Like, it's Oprah. It's the entire point of Oprah.
Yeah.
But God, yeah, this whole movie, like I said, this is a movie about this girl whose parents were scientists and they were searching for a way to do like cross light speed travel, like in an instant.
Yeah.
And man, yeah, knowing that this was made in the 70s, it explains why they are such hippies in their philosophy. Because this is a huge problem I had right off the bat, is that, well, not right off the bat, it takes like half an hour to get to this point, but this whole film is, I've been hearing people applaud, like, oh, it's promoting kids knowing science and kids being good at science and all that. And it's like, in the beginning it does.
Yeah, it did, because like it showed like the girl and her dad like doing science projects together. I'm like, oh, this is really nice. This is a positive message. And then it just like...
And then the science that the dad comes up with for faster than light travel is, if you just think of the equation, it can instantly get you there. And then later on, it's revealed the equation is love. And I was like, there is no science involved in any of this shit. None at all. And this, like, all the science that people have been promoting this film, it is jumped out the window instantly in this movie. Like, every now and again, the main girl, the actress's real name is Storm, and in my mind, I'm just like, was she named after the X-Men? Like, I kind of want to...
Like, her character's name is Meg.
Her character's name is Meg, though. There is, like, a moment in which they're kind of flying, and she explains what lift is.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, some science, I'm holding on to that science there. And then, like, towards the very tail end, there's one other sciencey thing that she says.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, that ain't enough for me to come in here and like applaud the science in this thing.
Like, gee, for a movie that's supposed to be science fiction, there's a lot more fiction than science.
There's a lot more fantasy in here.
Yeah,
this is fantasy. Yeah,
it should be fantasy.
Which here's the thing, I'm not saying that you can't have science fiction do really crazy stuff and then still say, yeah, but it's a positive message about science. Black Panther just did that not long ago, but they still kind of came in here and explained the stuff that they were doing, and you saw it was machines, and you saw people building the machines. It is literally, if you just think of love, it can get you to the other side of the galaxy. And it's like, there's no fucking science in that. Which, again, it's fine, you don't have to give me science, but I've heard people applauding that this is a positive message about science. No, it fucking isn't. Not even close. So yeah, so that was one thing, but the other thing that got me about this film is it took me a while to really go, why does this just feels weird. This whole movie just feels bizarre to me. And then there came a moment in which they were in the backyard, and Mrs. What's-It was in there, and she's like, oh yes, like she was like Glinda the Good Witch.
Yeah,
basically.
pretty much.
She was coming in, and the little tiny kid, whose name is Charles Winston, is that it?
Charles
Wallace. Charles Wallace. It's, like I said, his role is, I'm the really smart little kid. And every freaking word out of his mouth is, I'm the really smart kid. But she goes.
And I kind of felt like that really bothered me because like Meg is supposed to be the smart one.
Yeah, and it feels like he was like stealing a little bit of the spotlight.
It's like, oh, this random child that we adopted is a genius.
Well, it's kind of like he was raised by scientists still, so it's like I understand both of them being geniuses.
No, but it's like I felt like maybe he was like not human because like
he was a little Book of Henry at times. He was.
No, it's like at the beginning, like Meg's dad was explaining to her, like we're gonna adopt a new son. It's like out of all the parents in all the universe, he chose us to be his family. And like
he is a little the chosen one.
Yeah, and then he was the one who like found the missus first.
Which is never explained.
No, they just randomly popped up and he's like, oh, hi, I was expecting you. I was like, what?
Yeah, it was like, no, it's fine, it's this. But there came a moment in which they were in the backyard and he comes right up and hugs Mrs. Woodson, and then Mrs. Who just comes magically in, like, through the door, like, hi, and it's me, Mrs. Who. And then the next door neighbor's like, oh, yeah, hey, I know that thing you're talking about. And then, like, Oprah comes down and went, this is a children's show, that's what this is. I get it now. And I don't mean children's show like, you know, like some cartoon on Cartoon Network, not like Adventure Time or something. Again, that's kind of like an all-age thing. I mean Nick Jr. I mean Bear in the Big House, or whatever that was.
Bear in the Big Blue House.
Bear in the Big Blue House.
Yeah, honestly.
Blue's Clues. It was so just that we have one set, and then the kid goes right up like, yay! And then the magical lady comes in, yay, she's gonna teach me about history today. Yay! That's what this is. It hit me in that moment, like, oh my god, this is 100% that. This is that, but with a budget.
Yes, and it's like, this was meant for kids, and I'm glad that the kids enjoy this. Yeah. It's just not my thing.
Man, it is not. Here's the thing.
And
I'm critiquing. It sounds like I'm critiquing this. It does, by saying this is just a Nick Jr. show. But you know what? For that audience of little kids out there, cool.
Yeah, it's like,
good on you. But it's so weird that this is PG and not just straight G.
I guess when it comes to like the scary parts,
there is a shot in here that actually is legitimately scary, and I was like, this is jarring at this moment. Where did this come from? Yeah, there is a shocking moment here towards the end when it gets real dark.
Yeah, so I'm guessing that's why it's PG.
That's gotta be it, because I mean, they don't even say, even when Mrs. Who quotes someone who says damn, she says dang instead, which, man, I do have little bits of complaints about this even being like a kid's show, because it feels like they could be doing more to educate them.
Yeah.
It feels like the point of this was kind of be educational.
Yeah, but at the same time, it's like, maybe they're just being accurate to the book? I'm not,
maybe.
Like I said, I don't think
Chris Tucker was in the book.
No, but it's like, I meant like...
There was a,
I meant like the theme-wise. Like aimed at children sort of thing.
Because this clearly was a book written by hippies. This clearly was, because the entire point of this is, love is the greatest power of all, and it can always bring you together. And we three insanely colorful, psychedelic ladies from space. Oprah's back from outer space. She just walked in to see this girl with this sad look upon her face. She walked, man, I almost kept going with that song by accident. Yeah, this really was just like, man, this was a book written by hippies. This is baby's first hippie book, is what this is.
Although, I have to admit, even if I was like a little kid and I saw this movie, I probably would not have been all that interested. The same reason why I was not very interested in the book, no animals.
No, but there's yeah, you're right. It seems like there should have been animals.
Yeah, there should be like some sort of like talking animal, but there were like little flower people and they didn't even talk. It's like, and that's kind of the thing that really bothered me.
And Zach Galifianakis out of nowhere.
That's kind of the thing that bothered me about this movie, is like, there wasn't really a lot of interaction. Like, it
is a lot, going to places and then going to the next place.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like, oh, look how pretty this place is, and oh, look how scary this place is. And it's like, you know, one of the reasons why
Boo, audience! Boo, the scary place!
No, it's like one of the reasons why I enjoy, like, fantasy and sci-fi is because you get to interact with all these interesting characters and animals and other creatures and stuff, and it's like, there really wasn't a lot of that in here.
They interact with the witches, which I'm just going to call them that because, like, Again, we need to abandon that this is science fiction. This ain't science fiction, it's fantasy, because they're just straight up witches. They're magical witches. Which is fine, it's fine, but I mean, man, this has way more in common with Wizard of Oz than any science fiction.
Yeah, it's like fantasy with some science facts sprinkled in there, like...
Yeah. With every now and again, it stops to give you a fortune cookie of science, is what this is. But yeah, I was watching this, I was like, I don't think I ever actually finished my thought, but it's not like I'm critiquing this for being, like, only aimed at little kids, but you know what? Little kids need that every now and again.
Yeah.
Give a kid a, give little kids a thing every now and again.
Yeah, I mean, like, we're not saying that this is dumbed down. Like,
We're just saying it never goes above that.
Yeah, like, there's, like, a huge difference between, like, dumbing something down for kids and then, like, actually have it be deliberately aimed at kids.
Making a thing for kids.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and that's what this is. And the thing is, I don't feel like they've been promoting it like that. They've been promoting this kind of the same way that you would promote like a Harry Potter or something, where it's like, okay, it stars kids, and it's good for kids, but all ages can enjoy this. Not really. If you're an adult, I don't think you're gonna get much out of this.
Yeah, it's like, we tried seeing this movie, but it kept getting sold out.
Yeah.
And I think it's because, like, a lot of kids were interested in this, which is good.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, we tried going, like, last night, but, like, it got sold out because, like, a kid was having her birthday there. And it's like, that's awesome. Good for you. Like,
that's awesome. But we do have to warn my regular viewing audience out there.
Yes.
And the thing is, I know I have a lot of kids who watch this. I've met kids who are like 10 years old who watch my channel, which makes me feel really bad for all the cursing I do.
Yes, we're sorry about that.
Sorry about that. But to the 10-year-olds out there, you could probably enjoy this. I think like that's still a decent age. But once you hit around 13, it's kind of like, all right, you might be getting too old for this. I'm not going to come in and tell any kid you're too old for something, though. Because, I mean, that's something that, hey, man, I'm into comics. I faced that my entire life. If you're a grown-ass adult and you enjoy this, good for you.
Yeah.
Good for you. That's awesome. Embrace the thing that you enjoy. I am not saying anything, like, is not appropriate for you to enjoy this.
No, it's just...
I'm just saying... Statistically looking at demographics, like, who would I recommend this to? Probably it's not a smart bet for me to make that recommendation.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, like, it's a lot of, like, looking at places, but not really doing anything in those places.
And, well, they do...
Kind of, but, like...
but, I mean, there's nothing plot-wise. Nothing plot-wise. That's what it is.
Yes, it's like, there's not really a lot of action, per se. Like...
Well, there is some action. But again, it's nothing like, we have to get here to save the dad.
Yeah.
We go to a place. Have you seen the dad? Oh, well, they say we have to fly. Yay! Like... Alright, for a little kid, this is great and imaginative, but I need, like, some plot to kick in here now. Yeah, it is really just kind of like, look at all the pretty stuff in here. And I didn't think there was all that much pretty stuff in there. There's some cool visuals.
Yeah, there were very nice visuals.
There's some very cool visuals. But it's, again, it's just kind of like random. It's very random.
Yeah, like, especially, like, towards the end, like, when they got to, like, the place where the evil thing...
Just called the It.
Yeah.
Which, again, this was made in the 70s, so it's like, yeah, I can understand them just coming up with that name.
It's like, I was kind of expecting Pennywise to just show up... Get it? It.
No, I get it, yes.
But it's like, but at the same time, it's like, it makes sense. Like,
yeah, it's like, I understand it. Also, because, like, the misses are named after, like, concepts, and it is just vague.
Yeah.
It's like, it lacks all identity.
Yeah.
And they say it is the source of all bad, negative thoughts. So basically, it's coming and it's tearing all individuality away from people because it's taking all the stuff that makes them happy away. They're like, okay, yeah, alright, that makes sense. I understand it.
Yeah.
But yeah, this really, I have to keep hammering this home. This is really just kind of made for little kids. But I do think it's positive for little kids. I think there's better stuff for little kids. But you know what? It's still fine. It's still good. I mean, at the end of this thing, they go up to Meg. Oprah comes up to Meg and says, some of our greatest warriors came from Earth. Today, you help fight off the darkness so you can be just like them. Einstein, Curie, Gandhi, and they list off all these other people who, it's not really like they're coming in here and saying like, hey, Einstein and Gandhi and Madame Curie were secret agents for these space witches. What they're saying is they're people who did positive things that fought off the darkness. And he said, you, Meg, now you can be part of that. And it's very obvious they're not actually saying that to Meg. They're saying that to all the little kids in the audience. And like, you know what? Good. Okay.
Yeah, like it's a positive message, but it could have been presented in a better way, I guess.
It's very, like, again, there's no subtlety or tact to anything in here. It is all on the table. Everything this movie is about is right there. Like, you can't really read. What I read into that sentence right there about how it's not about Meg, it's about the audience, that is the most you can read into this film. Because everything is on the table. Like I said, look at the costumes they wear. That's the movie, because it's like, there's nothing subtle about those costumes. Those cells are big and loud and here. So, you know what? That's what this movie is. It's like, okay. But yeah, sometimes it is like you said, there is action, but all of it is just kind of there to have stuff happen. Like, I mean, at one point, for no reason at all, Reese Witherspoon turns into a giant lettuce bird. She looks like the Tooth Fairy from Rise of the Guardians. I
was thinking more of like the green fairy lady from Fantasia 2000.
Oh wow, okay, yeah.
But yeah.
But
like
yeah.
a combination of those two.
Yeah, and just a big piece of lettuce. She is like just a big green piece of lettuce.
No, she has like a lettuce with like a face at the
Yeah, that's what it is. But yeah, and then they go and they ride on her, and they go riding around, and they go under stuff, and they're touching, like, oh wow. I was like, this is really nice, but halfway through it hit me, wait, what does this have to do with anything? Why are they doing this? Like, are they trying to find the dad?
Yeah, it's like they're saying, oh, the best way to get there is to fly, and that's why she turned into that giant lettuce lady.
And then they flew, but then they came right back to where they were in the beginning,
yes,
and they went, oh, we need to go somewhere else now. It's like, so there's no point in that at all.
Yeah, it's like, oh, it's pretty visuals. And I think that's just the thing. It's like, if this was like in IMAX 3D, I'm sure this would have been like great, but like, not great, but like, great. Yeah, but it's like, it would. It
might have been fun to experience.
Yeah, a fun experience, but.
Yeah, so yeah, I guess we're kind of going around in circles on this. I guess all we really
kind of like the movie.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess all we really have to say is, the biggest problem with this film is I think that most of the people who are going to go and see it don't know what they're going to go and see.
Yeah.
Because, again, I was kind of looking forward to this because, like, oh, okay, it's based on this famous book. It's good all ages thing. Got a big cast in there.
Yeah,
I did not realize, no, this is made for little kids. And it's like, okay, that's fine. Wish I had known that going into it so I could have braced myself appropriately. But also, it makes me look at how this thing brought in like $30 million over the weekend, and a lot of people are like, well, I don't know if that's a success or not for a $100 million budget. You know, it's kind of hard to say. I can't think of the last time that something aimed at this young of an audience made that much. So in my mind, it's a success. And I know a lot of people are going to go, well, Pixar films bring back. Pixar films are aimed at all audiences. Even the ones about talking toys, about talking cowboy and spaceman are aimed at all audiences. I really can't, like, Cars is aimed at little kids, and this is way better than Cars, I'll say that. So, yeah, you know, it's a good film for little kids, and if you, who is not a little kid, find something that you enjoy in here, awesome, great, wonderful. And there are very positive messages in here. There are great positive messages, and I feel good that there's a film like that out there. But yeah, man, there was like really nothing in here for me.
Yeah.
We honestly were done talking about this. And then, like, you remember a major plot point in this film that we did not talk about at all, and it needs to be talked about.
Yeah, it's like Charles Wallace, the kid who got adopted and insists on being called Charles Wallace instead of like Charlie or whatever.
Wally, Charles, Chuck.
I don't know. It's like Christopher Robin. No one ever calls him Chris and Winnie the Pooh for some reason.
Well, he's like a proper British kid from the 1900s. Charles Wallace is a modern day kid who still walks around dressing better than like most corporate businessmen do. He dresses like an old retiree. He walks around in like a sweater vest and a collared shirt buttoned up underneath, and he's constantly reading books. Like I said, this whole book, everybody is 100% what they are. There is a moment in which Charles Wallace, he eats by himself on recess just reading a big book, and not like because he's sad and lonely, just because he's like, no, this is satisfactory to me. And he hears like the two teachers just talking mad crap about his sister and him. Just, yeah, he's so weird, and oh, she's such a troublemaker, and oh, I don't think the dad is in space, I think that he left for good. It's like just going back and forth on this, and like, what teachers would talk that openly, like, outside of the teacher's lounge on this. Like, it's so, like, ham-fisted, some of these moments.
Yeah, it's like, I always got, like, a weird vibe from, like, Charles Wallace, because he was just so odd compared to everyone else, and it's like, during the end, like... Well,
yeah, towards the end of this film, when they go...
At the climax, near the climax, basically.
When they go inside the It, which has another weird, crazy term for it, but we're just gonna call it the It. They go in there, and, like, the world keeps changing back and forth from one thing to the next. They go to a beach, and they're really hungry, and then Michael Pena comes up in the... Man, it's almost like they looked at what Oprah and the other two misses were wearing, and they're like, we can't have them be the tackiest thing in this film. He comes up wearing a suit that has an entire beach landscape painted on it. It is insane, the thing that he's wearing. And he comes up, and, like, this was a second after they told him, after they went, no, remember what they said? They said we can't trust anyone, because they saw someone inviting them in for dinner, and they were like, we can't trust anyone. And then they walk out on this beach, and there's a big smorgasbord laid out, and then he walks up, hey kids, how's it going? Can I help you? And they were like, no, we're just looking for our dad. I know your dad, I can help you, but eat this food first. And they're like, oh, thank God we can do that. I was like, why is he okay? He looks weirder than the lady a second ago you said I can't trust. But yeah, so they start eating the food, and the next door neighbor kid, he is just inhaling it. And Charles Wallace eats it and goes, it tastes like sand. All of this tastes like sand.
It's a sandwich.
And then Michael Pena just says, oh,
you passed the test. You're just like me, or some shit like that.
Because you understand that 2 of 1 is 2, 2 of 2 is 4, 2 of 3 is 6, and then he starts repeating the multiplications back to him as well. He keeps going, and he goes, cool, take my hand, I'll show you your father. He takes his hand, and then, like, he starts walking off. I don't want to find father anymore. And then, like, he just goes off, and he's, like, now completely 100% brainwashed by the It. And man, if you thought he was acting like an adult for his age before, after this, it is insane, the dialogue he's saying.
It's like supervillain stuff.
It is supervillain stuff, and it's so weird watching this come out of this little kid's mouth.
And it's like, at that point, I thought, like, Charles Wallace was, like...
Like there had never been a Charles Wallace.
Like he was just, like, a puppet that the It created to, like, lure Meg into the trap with her father? Or some shit like that? I don't know.
Maybe.
But it's like...
I mean, I guess I can see that because... But, I mean... That's a fault of the writing on this. I mean, I don't want to point at the kid and go, oh, it's because the kid couldn't act like a kid. It is impossible to act like a kid with the lines of dialogue that they were giving him to say. So yeah, I don't blame the kid on this one at all.
Yeah. Also, like, speaking of which, is like, I felt like Calvin, like, the love interest, he sort of felt like he wasn't necessary.
No.
Yeah.
Not really.
No. Although, I will admit, it's kind of fun to see it reversed, have the guy be the unnecessary love interest instead of the girl.
He was there just to be the hunky love interest.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was it. And it's weird like, because, like, there's 3 misses and there's 3 kids, and each of the kids basically pair up with a missus, and Charles Wallace pairs up with Mrs. Watson, and he's got, like, this instant connection with her, which, by the way, when Mrs. Watson comes into the house in the beginning of this, the mom sees it and is just like, can I help you? Oh, okay. Well, listen, we have to go now. I was like, some crazy lady is in your house touching your child, and that's your reaction?
It's like, get away from my son!
I know, I would. Man, if I walked in and found a crazy person just like holding our dog, I would flip the fuck out. And I can assure you I'd be more passionate about a child than a dog. I would assume. Man, I'd be a shitty parent if I wasn't. Yeah, it's just so weird how calm she is around her.
But then again, it was the 70s, so...
I guess. But yeah, also at the end of this thing when the dad comes back and like... When they, in the beginning of this, when they were saying the dad disappears and people say he's in space, I was like, oh, he disappeared on like a space shuttle mission or something.
Yeah.
Then it's revealed, no, he was just in the house, like in his lab one day, and then he just goes, love. Love is the missing component. And then he just vanishes away. I was like,
Yeah,
Who the hell would be spreading the rumor? Oh, he's in space.
It's like Tesseract, that's the word for it.
Yeah, which makes 2 Disney franchises they're starting up that have Tesseracts as a major part of them. I don't know what Tesseract means. It has to have something to do with space, because that's what the Tesseract did in Avengers. Anywho.
Yeah, but it's like, he just vanished, so it's like, you'd think he would have gotten kidnapped or something, or like...
Yeah, but when he comes back at the end, he just says, sorry, I'm late. I'm so sorry. And then they start kissing, and I was like, okay, I know you have to go out on an emotional moment. I know you have to go on there, but all I can think is, shit, man, if your husband left for years...
Yeah, for 4 years.
For 4 years, man, all I could picture is just her slapping the shit out of him. Just, where were you?
Yeah, but like, we can't have that in a Disney movie.
Yeah,
so.
I understand why they couldn't do that. I understand. But yeah, what I was saying is each of the kids pair up with them, and it's like Charles Wallace pairs up with Mrs. What's-It, because I guess she's the most childlike, which is ironic, because even though he is the childish,
it's
he's
like
not the most
their
childlike.
personalities are reversed.
No, because he still is like, it's Mrs. What's-It, yay! Like, she's the clown at his birthday party. But then Oprah pairs up with Meg because she's the protagonist and she's the one who has to learn the most lessons about herself, and she's the one who has to learn the lessons about accepting her faults. So, of course, Oprah is the one to teach you all your important life lessons. But then Mrs. Who pairs up with Calvin, and I was like, when did this pairing really kick off? Like, I don't see any connection between these two at all.
It's like, oh, we need, like, one more person for the other misses, and it's like,
But yeah, there's, like, no reason for him to really, like, feel a connection with her. It's like, if he was, like, a big history nut or something, so when she starts quoting all these people, like, he would understand. He only understands one quote she gives, and it's from Outkast. And I was like, man, it's... For someone who only speaks in quotations... It's really easy to establish a connection with one of these kids. Just make one of the kids a history buff and just go, I know that quote. I know that quote. It's this thing.
Well,
you're referencing this thing.
I think, like, the thing is they didn't really establish his character, so, like, I think that they were trying to get is, like, he's not only popular, but, like, really good at school also.
Yeah.
But, like, they didn't, like Meg...
It's never really,
Yeah, it's like, at one point, Meg tells him, like, even the teachers love you, so it's like, okay, so I guess he's supposed to be smart too, but he, like, I don't know.
Yeah, he's fine. He never shows it or anything.
No.
Yeah, so they kind of dropped the ball on, like, establishing anything for him. He's just kind of there. Also, although they do give him a little bit of backstory when they say that his dad is abusive to him.
Yeah, it's like...
Which, wow, when that got in there, that was like, oh!
Yeah, that was like the dark thing that you... Like...
No, I was talking about when they actually are, like, dragging them to their death.
Oh, yeah.
That was kind of messed up.
Yeah, also, like, the girl bully with an eating disorder, like...
Yeah.
They kind of touched on that, too.
Yeah,
like,
they touch on some dark themes in here.
Yeah, like, basically, like, Oprah's telling Meg about what the it does, and, like, the it, like, puts negative vibes in people, and that's why, you know, the bully was, like, you know, being mean, is, like, obsessed with, like, her weight and everything, and, like, why Calvin is, like, constantly trying to, like, be better in school because his dad abuses him and stuff, so...
Yeah, and at the end of the thing, when he gets back from space, he says, no, I have to go and talk to my dad about something. And it's so, you know, he's like, okay, I'm gonna go, and I'm gonna change all this around, and it's like... If you could change your abusive father by just saying, hey, don't do that... There wouldn't be a lot of abusive fathers out there.
Yeah, sorry.
And it was kind of like, yeah, Calvin ain't coming back. I'm sorry to say that.
And it's like, yeah, and
Calvin's coming back with the black eye. I hate saying that.
Yeah, it's like, once again, I get it. It's a Disney film for little kids, so they do not want to, like, have, like, make it too dark.
Yeah.
So
yeah, it's like, again, this is not for us.
No.
This is for little kids. I think for little kids, they're going to enjoy it.
Yeah.
It'll be really fun and trippy and weird for them. They'll have a good time. But for the adults out there ain't nothing for you, son.
Not really. I mean, it's pretty to look at, but...
It's nice. It's nice seeing Oprah in something again.
Yeah.
She hasn't been in anything for a while, aside from when she played a camel in that film last year.
Yeah.
But that doesn't really count. Yeah, you just say we're making a movie about Jesus and Oprah will show up. So,
it's like, hey, we're making a movie where you are Jesus. Like, oh, I'm in.
She's not Jesus, she's
I know,
God.
she's God.
Yeah. That joke is too easy. This film is practically doing that. Oh, yeah. Man, it feels weird that there was a point in time in which people were talking about, man, we could elect Oprah as president. I was like, don't do that. Get, like, actual real politicians.
Now it's like,
Now it's like, for the love of God,
please.
Oprah, run for president. I will gladly donate to that campaign. I don't need to. You're rich enough. Yeah, holy crap. But anywho, okay, so yeah, end of the day, you know, like, C for adults, B for kids. It's, you know, it's fine.
Yeah.
Okay, so that was it. Thank you guys for tuning in. Come back this weekend, in which we're going to be reviewing. We might be doing another review tomorrow because this weekend I was crazy busy, so all the reviews got pushed back. And there were like 4 major releases this week, which means it kind of sucked. But next week there's really only one big release, Tomb Raider, which already is not getting good reviews.
Yeah, well...
Surprise, surprise!
Oh, it's a movie based off a video game, of course it's gonna get bad.
And the trailers look bad for it too, man. I held that in because I had that thought in the back of my mind. It's like, man, what if everybody else digs these trailers and I don't? Oh no, those trailers were not good. Okay, so... Also, anytime that a video game has an Academy Award-winning person in it, oh, it's not just bad, it's exceptionally bad. So, yeah, we'll have that to look forward to. Thanks for tuning in, everyone. Come back next time.
Bye.